read books in a few different genres. And the reason that it's so good to read different genres as writers is that it exposes us to different styles, different ways of doing things. And what I've found is that it can really get our creative juices going as we read different formats. And so what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to actually read you a short excerpt in 3 different genres that I've been enjoying recently. And if you do read other genres, in the comments while you're watching, what genres do you typically read? So I'd love to know what you typically read. Put it in the comments. The first genre I wanted to share with you is nonfiction. And part of why I want to share this with you is this is a really great book. How to Write Dazzling Dialogue, The Fastest Way to Improve Any Manuscript. It's by James Scott Bell. And I picked this up at the library. It's a short book, which I'm always on the hunt for short books because you can get through them faster and you feel more accomplished. So this book is really, really helpful. I'm about a little over halfway through. And what I like about it is that there are so many examples of how to write dialogue. There's good examples, there's bad examples, and so it's a very practical book to help you tighten up your dialogue. And so here's just a little excerpt. Dialogue in fiction has 5 functions. One or more of the following must always be at work, or you're just taking up space. 1, reveal story information. 2, reveal the character. 3, set the tone. 4, set the scene. And 5, reveal the theme. So I'm going to show you just one little example here. Exposition is necessary in fiction, though not as much as many writers think. What we mean by exposition is information that is necessary for the reader to understand what's going on in the story. There are 2 ways to deliver this information, through narrative or dialogue. Narrative is sometimes employed because it's best to get information out of the way and move on. For example, Frank was a box boy at Gelson's where he'd worked for 10 years. But a better way to put the information within the narrative is to reflect the character's inner life. Frank hated being a box boy at Gelson's. 10 lousy years of this drudgery. So that is just an example from this book, How to Write Dazzling Dialogue, The Fastest Way to Improve Any Manuscript by James Scott Bell. I highly recommend it. There's exercises that you can do to listen to dialogue, practice your dialogue skills. Very helpful. So nonfiction is one genre that is fun to read. The next one is poetry. I don't know how many of you read poetry. If you love reading poetry, go ahead and just put poetry in the comments. But this is a book by C.K. Williams, actually winner of the Pulitzer Prize. And I wanted to read an excerpt in honor of Nancy Vest's grandbaby being born. So here I go. Enjoy this poem. It's called Owen, 7 Days. Well, here I go again, into my grandson's eyes, 7 days old, and he knows nothing, logic tells me. Yet, when I look into his eyes, darkish grayish blue, a whole tone lighter than his mother's, I feel myself almost with a whoosh dragged into his consciousness and processed. His brows knit. I'm in there now. I don't know in what form, but his gaze hasn't faltered an instant. Though still his brows knit and knit, as though to get just right what I am, no, what I am thinking. As though to get what I'm thinking just exactly right. In perplexity, perhaps, his brows knit once again. Perhaps because of how little inscrutability with which the problem of me is presented. Not, who are you, but more something like, why? Why are you? Out there. Do you know? Then his eyelids start to flutter, time to sleep. And once again, with something like another whoosh, I'm ejected back out into my world. Bereft? No. But for an instant, maybe just a little lonely, just a little desolated, just for a while, utterly confounded by the sheer propulsive force of being taken by such love. So that again is C.K. Williams in his poetry book Repair. And what I love about poetry is it can be such a good way to get our creative juices flowing, to hear different metaphors, different ways of seeing the world. Poetry often, good poetry is so visceral, and the words just evoke such feeling and such mind pictures that when we can take those same skills of painting pictures in people's minds, evoking emotion into our other writing, whether you're doing fiction or you're doing nonfiction, it can just be a really powerful thing to periodically read poetry books. Okay. Oh, it's so fun. Pat's here, Susan's here, Christy's here. It's so fun to see all your genres. I love it. Yes. Okay, my last book that I have for you today, it may surprise you, but I will often pick up children's books, not even for Eli, but just for me. So this book is My Words Flew Away Like Birds, and I'll read a short excerpt. It's by Deborah Pearson Shirja Jain. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Let me show you the picture here. I won't try to read with the pictures, but they're really beautiful. Before we moved away, my mother taught me some words in a new language. She said we need these words, and other ones too, in the place where we were going. The words felt strange and lumpy in my mouth. Hello, how are you? I am very well, thank you. It was nice to meet you. Goodbye. What would it be like, I wondered, to live where everyone said these words, and I would, too. But when we came here, my mother, my father, and me, my words flew away like birds. Everyone spoke so fast. The words tumbled out and swirled around. Hey, what's up? Not much. What you doing? Come on, let's go. Sheesh, wait up. Nah. Okay. Oops, my bad. Gotta go. Whatever. See you later. Yeah, sure. See you maybe later. The words did not sound like the ones I had learned, so I did not say anything. I was like a tiny bug on a leaf, waiting, watching, listening, trying to figure out where I had landed, trying to fit in. So again, that's a short excerpt from My Words Flew Away Like Birds by Deborah Pearson and Shirja Jain. And I love this book. And what I love about children's books in general is they're so visual. So as writers, they can really help us picture things. And then with children's books, especially, these shorter picture books, they have to be so short and yet connect to a reader, evoke emotion. And so when you're reading these children's books, the themes are often so powerful. I know I shared with you the book, The Rabbit Listened. It makes me cry every time I read it. And so when you're thinking about themes, thinking about developing a story, children's books can be a great example to see themes, see how quickly they develop it, the words they use, the pictures they paint. So I always love picking up a few children's books when I go to the library just to get those creative juices flowing.